Sports. It's who we are. It's what we do. It's how we roll. It's wins and losses, highs and lows. It's effort, respect, and dedication. The High School Sports Beat. Sports. It's who we are.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We continue our look back at some of the stories we've covered over the last 9 years, beginning this week with a profile on the girls of Hilton bowling, a week after they set a record for high team total. From January of 2013, here's Bill Puckle.
Mr. Dave Flanagan.
Within the crowd pushing into Clover Lanes for the bi-weekly Monroe County League's bowling matches were 5 of the newest stars of the sport. Irish, Schroeder, Storm, Shiny Bird, and Tink.
1, 2, 3, team!
Where's Tink come from?
They call me Tinkerbell because I'm a little sprite and I have blonde hair and I'm small.
Where'd Schroeder come from?
When I first started off bowling, I would never set myself. I would just run right up there, so I got Schroeder.
Steph, why Shiny Bird?
Well, my freshman year, my coach, he asked me what I look at when I throw my ball, and I said, Mr. Feely, I honestly have no idea what I look at. And so he just says I look all over, and so I'm a little ditzy, so he calls me Shiny Bird.
My memory for names is terrible, but for some reason it's great with nicknames. I can tell you the nicknames of the kids I had 4 years ago. So it came from that.
On January 14th, this crew of cadets broke the state and national record for a girls' 5-game team series, scoring a remarkable 1,198 pins. Do the math. It's an average of 239 plus per girl. 4 of the 5 bettered their average. 2 scored personal bests. As it was happening, were you guys aware that it was something special?
We were trying to block it out. I think we were just so caught up in emotion that we didn't really catch it until the end.
Hannah rolled a 248. Nicole Simons a 258, the best of the bunch. Simons returned to the lanes this winter after focusing on softball a year ago.
I'm way better at bowling. I've been bowling since I was little, and then I just started softball a couple years ago because my dad got me into it. But I don't know, I like bowling a lot better.
We knew when we got Nicole Simons back this year, Coach and I knew at the start of the season that we had 5 girls that if they all hit at the same time, they could put up a serious number.
Steph Urbanis rolled a 193. Nothing to be ashamed of, certainly. But with the team falling just 2 pins short of 1,200, well...
I know it's not all my fault, but if I had a 200, it would have been, we would have got 1,200.
Still, it's pretty good, isn't it?
It is pretty good. A national record is amazing. So.
How great was it being part of that?
It was amazing. I started crying. It was probably one of the best feelings ever.
The captain is Anae Irish Flanagan, who 2 days after contributing 257 pins to the cause, rolled her first perfect game.
I'd say they're both equally the same. Team-wise, I couldn't have asked for a better team, and the 300, of course, is what I've been striving for ever since I started bowling as a little kid, so that was amazing too.
And I think this is all the more impressive. This is not even your first sport, is it?
No, I also play lacrosse, and I'm going there. I'm playing Division I lacrosse at St. Francis University.
It took the better part of 3 weeks to verify the 5-score state and national records, but that time was well spent.
It's great. It's great for them. It's great for this sport. It's great for Hilton. Our athletic director, Mike Durizzi, is very, very supportive of me and the program. And to be able to raise a banner, which we're going to do at Hilton High School, is just, it's great for everyone involved.
The Hilton girls finished second at states that year. Sarah Gherkin is currently bowling at Roberts Wesleyan. Meanwhile, Anna Flanagan went on to a 4-year career at Division I St. Francis, where she played lacrosse. Well, coming up next, Matt Trabold joins us for the High School Notebook. We'll have that and more when the High School Sports Beat continues. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the High School Sports Beat. I am Dave Yates. It is time now for the High School Notebook. And once again, we're pleased to be joined by Matt Trabold. Matt, thanks for hopping on board.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, last week we talked about Section 5 players succeeding on the diamond in baseball. Let's turn the spotlight this time on softball players from Section 5.
So the legendary likes of Aiden Falk, Julia Martino graduated over the last year or two. That left some big shoes to be filled for that next big-name D1 softball player or players from Rochester, who that would be. Sydney Bolin from Fairport. She went from bombing homers, I remember being at these games, at SUNY Brockport in sectional games, going over my head, me out in the outfield shooting them. So she had 8 of those bombs as she went over to be a freshman at Central Connecticut State. So she's showing the power yet again at that higher level, at D1 no less. Then double-digit home runs as a sophomore there. She transferred to the ACC in Duke for this past season. Obviously, a very big stage there. She hit .313 with some starting experience in her first year for the Blue Devils at first base in that shortened campaign. And then the even more veteran Haley Mariano, a versatile utility player from Pittsford Mendon. She just finished up her 4th season at Bucknell, started all 22 games before the NCAA closed up shop, hit .310, 14 ribbies. As someone who's not a huge power hitter, but she has a lot of pop for her smaller size, you could say, and was named the Patriot League representative for the NCAA Division I Advisory Committee, so a leader on and off the field there. And then a Pittsford Sutherland grad, Hannah Catalo-Stooks, just finished up her 2nd season as an infielder for the Canisius Golden Griffins. She started 53 of the 55 games the program has played in those last 2 years that she has been part of the program, so she's doing big things from a very young age there. It's very impressive, these 3 players.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. Now let's talk a little lacrosse, and let's talk about women's lacrosse and some of the top candidates coming from out of our area for one of the top awards.
So a couple weeks ago on the show, we talked about former Victor and current Syracuse women's lacrosse star Emily Howershuk and how she was a 2020 Tewaaraton Award finalist, that Heisman for college lacrosse. So that list of finalists also featured 2 more Section 5 products in Maddie Howe and Caitlin Muir. Howe from Fairport, just like we were talking about a second ago on the softball diamond, is a junior up front for the team at Notre Dame. She had 40 goals as a freshman, then just under 60 goals as a sophomore. And then as the Irish ended the shortened 2020 season 7-0, she tossed in 16 more career goals. She just keeps going up and up. And then a fun moment for her over the shelter at home times that we're living in right now. She was juicing oranges in a video on Twitter that went a little viral, promoting a virtual game through one of the big websites versus Syracuse. So some fun there. And I think she probably knows Howershuk from coming up through the ranks in Section 5. And then over to the Big Ten and the Michigan Wolverines, HFL Honey Falls Lima product, Caitlin Muir, also a junior on attack. As a sophomore, she set single-season records for the Michigan program for points and assists, so doing it big from a very young age again. And she impressed again as a junior, the team leading 16 goals. A couple other big names making Section 5 proud right there.
And in men's lacrosse, rather, I should say, Maryland guy doing pretty good from our area.
Yeah, so I'm a college hoops guy, to use a college hoops term here. This guy was a diaper dandy this past season. Jack Brennan from Irondequoit. He started every game this past season for a mighty Maryland team, always in the top of the rankings. That just doesn't happen for freshmen at Blue Blood programs like the Terps. You couldn't ask for a better first 3 collegiate games out of him. He had 2 goals apiece in his first 2 college outings against High Point, against Richmond. And then in that 3rd game, he scored the game winner to beat 6th ranked Penn. It was 4 versus 6, a huge matchup there. Plus, what made all this even more of an impressive accomplishment for him is that a close family member unfortunately passed 4 days before his Terps debut. So he was able to have that on his mind and still go out in that guy's honor and really show up. It's a bright future ahead for Jack, and you really love to see it.
All right. Great stuff, Matt. As always, stay well, my friend.
You too. Thank you very much.
All right. We'll see you again soon. We're back with more of the High School Sports Beat right after this. Coming up next, the Making the Grade nominee with Kyle O'Gara, and later, a look back at one of the area's best tennis players, Matt Gamble, as a 9th grader. We'll have his story when the High School Sports Beat returns.
Welcome back, and thank you for watching the High School Sports Beat. I'm Kyle O'Gara.
Making the grade this week is Penfield senior Isaac Lehigh. Isaac is a dual athlete in both soccer and lacrosse and has been on both teams for 2 years. On the field, Isaac has won the Penfield Lacrosse Iron Eagle Award, which is awarded to the best overall athlete based on strength and conditioning testing. In the classroom, Isaac has a 98.5% average, is a member of the National Honor Society, and is in the top 10% of the American Chemical Society in Monroe County. Outside of class, Isaac is an active member of his community and participates in many volunteer activities. In the fall, Isaac plans to attend Syracuse University and major in physics. This week, Isaac Lehigh is making the grade.
If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. Send them into mtg@rocksportsnow.com. Now here's Dave in the McArdle Section 5 Spotlight.
Thanks, Kyle. Here are some of the athletes, teams, and coaches are handling quarantine in this week's Section 5 Spotlight, brought to you by McArdle's in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
McArdle's is open for takeout and delivery with DoorDash and Grubhub every day of the week. Visit our website, eatatmcardles.com.
Gates Child High football coach Jason Benham has some words for those worried about the fall.
Touch base. Sorry, it took me a while this week to get a message out, but I just want to talk about worrying about things that are out of your control. You know, my father, one of the smartest guys I know, used to tell me and my brothers that all the time when we'd be worried. And plus, he'd always say your mother will do the job worrying about everything. You don't worry about things that are out of your control. So stop thinking about or asking what's going to happen in the fall. Okay, we keep hearing it's a big part of the news. Okay, it's May. All right, take day by day, control the things that you can control, and don't worry about the things you can't control. Okay, thanks for listening.
Pittsford Jack Frusello is practicing his long snapping and social distancing at the same time. The seniors on the Palmac girls lacrosse team with a special message.
Listen, kittens, we have a message for you. Don't take your lacrosse season for granted. Good luck next year. We'll miss you.
And Eastridge High School honored their senior athletes by turning the lights on at the stadium at 8:20 in military time to honor the class of 2020. Well, if your team or school would like to share their quarantine activities, workouts, or challenges, let us know. Tag @HighSchoolSportsBeat on social media. Up next, what it's like to face off with the very best on the tennis court. We'll talk about that when the High School Sports Beat continues.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us on the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We head back to May of 2013 for a tennis match between Brighton and Webster Schroeder and the already intimidating presence of 9th grader Matt Gamble.
Webster isn't widely regarded as a tennis town, but Schroeder High School features two of the most talked about players in the section. Ninth grader Matt Gamble took on fellow all-Greater Rochester player senior Riley Damerl in first singles as the Warriors hosted Brighton.
I have nothing to lose personally in that match. He's the reigning AGR player of the year, and I got nothing to lose, so I'm just going out there to have fun and give him a tough match.
Yeah. What does it take to give him a tough match?
You got to be in every point. You got to hit the best shots you can and make him work for it.
You know, where is your game? Are there things in particular that you're trying to get better at this year?
Yeah, for sure. Just trying to, get stronger, quicker, hit better shots everywhere just to get to a higher level.
While Damerl felt he accomplished that goal, it didn't show in the final outcome. Gamble steamrolled to a 6-1, 6-love win. Riley was assigned the role of sacrificial lamb in this case by his coach and father.
He's a senior, and he's actually had the advantage of playing third and fourth singles on his way up because he always had Tony Zau ahead of him. We had Yoni Zuckerman a couple of years ago who was a sectional champion. So he's been lucky all the way up, being able to play down a little bit and get some success. So now that he's a senior, he's got to step up and do that for the team.
Gamble is one of the top players to arrive in Rochester in years, so he probably won't be playing for the Warriors past this season. That torch will be passed to his lifelong friend and neighbor, John Spiker, an 8th grader playing in an adjacent court and defeating Brighton's Brian Burr.
Right, I know, it's crazy that we're both 1 and 2 singles and neighbors, and John made the state qualifiers last year, and we're 1 grade apart, so it's kind of cool.
Was it cool, kind of growing up with him and tennis being such a major part of your life?
Yeah, it was. I think it was really interesting because we met each other when we were 2 or 3, so to grow up together all along all these years and then to both get into tennis and just everything together I think it's really fun and kind of cool.
John is just as outstanding of a player. He's a year behind, and as he grows up and gets bigger, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. You can go through and watch him now. Year over year growth is outstanding. You can tell all of the time that he's put into training, both physically and on the court, and he's come back a lot stronger than last year.
John actually introduced me to tennis when I was 7 years old, and we've played ever since, I guess. Yeah.
John introduced you.
Yeah. I moved from downstate to upstate, and he was taking tennis lessons, and we're neighbors, so his mom asked my mom if I wanted to play, and I just got into it, and I guess it's taken off from there.
Spiker used to consistently beat his buddy.
If I knew that we were both going to be all the way playing in these national tournaments, I think I would have appreciated it a lot more back then, but now it's interesting how we've played so many times.
The last couple of years have gotten the better of him, but before, he always used to beat me when we were 10 and 11 years old.
Now does it feel good?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Together, Gamble and Spiker have put Schroeder on the local tennis map for now.
We've got a lot of kids on the team now who play other sports, which is great. You get a lot of March to May players, but if you're looking to make that next level to get as good as, as Mendon is, as Brighton is, you've got to have a bunch of players, probably 8 to 10, that are playing 12 months a year.
Damerl, meanwhile, finds happiness as a multiple sports athlete. He plays volleyball and basketball, and in the company of fellow Brighton senior Tony Zau as the region's dominant doubles team. Both Barons will score their 100th career victories this year.
They really decided about as 7th graders to pursue doubles when it came to the individual tournaments. Riley not putting in enough time into tennis to really develop the singles game. And, Tony took a look and realized there's so many good players in the area to make it to the state tournament in singles is almost impossible. And so they realized early on that if they focused on their doubles, they could probably have more success as a doubles team. And I think the combination of the two, they're a good fit. They're good friends. Their games complement each other. Riley's kind of an athlete at the net. Tony's the kid who can drill the ball from the baseline, and that really works well for them.
Matt's senior season at Notre Dame was interrupted by COVID-19, and he was coming off a strong junior season that saw him make it to the 2019 Indoor National Championships with doubles partner Grayson Broaddus. We'd like to thank the athletes, teams, and coaches in Section 5. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Please take care and be safe.